Hey, real quick, before we dive into today's episode, if you've been feeling like your brand needs a little love, but you're not quite sure where to start, I have just the tool you need. The Standout Brand Audit Bot is an AI-powered guided audit that shows you exactly what's working, what's not, and how to strengthen your brand using my proven Standout brand system. In 10 minutes or less, you'll walk away with clear next steps to move your brand forward with purpose. It's completely free. Just head to the show notes to grab the link and get started. If I had $1 for every time that a prospective client told me, I want my logo to be like Nike, I want to be instantly recognizable, I would not be sitting here recording this podcast right now, let me tell you. And I get it. Apple, Nike, the big brands, you name it, have some of the most iconic logos in the world. But here is the thing that I think people are missing when they say, oh, I want that. Their logos are not what made them famous. Apple did not start out with a sleek silhouette of an apple, and Nike's swoosh was kind of a fluke that was designed by a college student and just happened to stick. These logos became recognizable because of decades of consistent business growth, marketing, execution, and brand building, not because they were just great designs from day one. So in today's episode, I'm breaking down why your logo will probably never be as recognizable as Apple or Nike, and why that's okay. Because your logo isn't meant to build your business for you. Your business is what builds your logo. Welcome to the Six Figure Brand Podcast, where each week we're pulling back the curtain on what it really takes to build a six-figure business as an online service provider. I'm your host, Morgan. I'm a branding expert, online agency owner, mom of 2, and military spouse, and I'm obsessed with helping entrepreneurs like you understand the ins and outs of branding so that you can use it to grow your business without sacrificing your sanity. Whether you're just starting out or focused on scaling, we're diving into everything you need to build a profitable and sustainable online business. Let's get to it. You want your logo to be instantly recognizable. I get it. That's a good thing to want. Brand recognition is really, really important. We do a lot of work with our clients at Expected Co. on building brand recognition. And yes, Apple and Nike do have 2 of the most iconic logos in the world, but they are not iconic because of extraordinary logo design alone. Those businesses did not become the powerhouses they are because they have a great logo. Their logo became instantly recognizable and iconic because of the businesses that are behind them. So in this episode, we're unpacking how those brands actually became household names and why comparing your business logo to theirs is both unrealistic and unhelpful. So let's talk about the evolution of Apple's logo. In around 1976, the very first Apple logo was released. It was not an apple. It was a highly detailed shield style logo with a little ribbon that said the Apple Computer Company and had an illustration of Isaac Newton sitting underneath of an apple tree inside the shield. When I say highly detailed, I mean highly detailed, which is not what we want for a good logo, just to be clear. It looked more like an engraving or the cover of a book than really a logo, which made it hard to reproduce, impossible to scale, and not practical at all for products or marketing. This logo ended up being used very briefly because of those things, like for less than a year. Around 1997, Steve Jobs hired designer Rob Janoff to create a logo that would actually function as a logo. He created what we all know as the rainbow apple with the bite taken out of it. Fun fact for you, the bite was added because they were concerned that it would be mistaken for a cherry. So that's kind of a cute little tidbit. And the rainbow stripes were intended to highlight Apple's color display technology. This was the logo that they used for just about 20 years, which is some serious longevity. I want to highlight here too that using the same logo for 20 years is part of how that logo became recognizable. If they had changed it every 3, 4, 5 years, they would have never built that brand recognition. So a lot of brand recognition comes from consistency and sticking to your guns and not constantly reinventing the wheel. Now, in 1988, we see a new version, a little more refined, of the same Apple logo. So as Apple's evolving their products into sleeker, more minimal designs, the logo follows. The rainbow stripes get removed. We keep the same apple shape, but now it's in that monochrome metallic or white color, and it has stayed the same until today. So I want to be really clear here that Apple's logo is not what made Apple iconic. The evolution of Apple as a business and its logo following that is what made the logo iconic. Now let's talk about the Nike swoosh. I bet you did not know that Nike was founded as Blue Ribbon Sports in 1964. Doesn't really roll off the tongue the way that Nike does, right? So they operated as Blue Ribbon Sports until around 1971, at which point they transitioned to Nike after the Greek goddess Nike. And at that point, someone in their marketing department realized, oh, we probably need a logo. So they went and found a graphic design student, Kellen Davidson, and hired her to design a logo for $35. Yes, I'm serious. And when the logo was first designed, Phil Knight didn't even love it. He is quoted as saying, well, it might grow on me. I would venture to guess that in 2026, nearly $40 billion of net worth later, it's probably grown on him. But the point here is that the swoosh did not become iconic because it was a genius design. I, as a designer, think it was kind of clever that it's intended to symbolize the wings of the Greek goddess Nike, who is the goddess of victory. So I think there is some cool symbolism there, right? But the point is that it was not a genius design. They didn't pay millions of dollars for it. The Nike swoosh became iconic because Nike has invested billions of dollars, literally billions with a B, into marketing over decades. They partnered with elite athletes, they embed themselves into sports culture, and they repeat that symbol relentlessly across products, ads, sponsorships. I don't think you can walk into any store without seeing the Nike swoosh. That is why it's iconic. It also became iconic because it's simple and easy to recognize. So when you see it 1,000 times, every time you turn around, you do start to recognize it because it is so simple, unlike Apple's original Isaac Newton logo. So the swoosh is a really great case study in the fact that simple logos do help build brand recognition, but that has to be coupled with repetition, brand strategy, and really, really, really good marketing. You do not recognize the swoosh because it's a brilliant design. You recognize it because you've seen it 1,000 times, and Nike has done such a great job at telling you what they're about as a business and what that swoosh represents. Now, I mentioned that Nike paid a whopping $35 for their logo. Eventually, Nike did gift Carolyn Davidson some stock and compensated her appropriately. But the point I want to say here is that a lot of us fall into this trap of, oh, if I hire the most expensive designer, they'll make me a great logo and then I will be like Nike or be like Apple. And that is not how it works. Many, many, many companies spend millions of dollars on logo redesigns and rebrands that still flop. Brand recognition cannot be just created by doing a rebrand. Case in point here is Cracker Barrel. If you remember, last year, Cracker Barrel introduced a redesigned logo that really stripped down its classic old country store identity, and the response from customers was overwhelmingly negative. It took, I would have to look at the dates on this, but less than a month, maybe a couple of weeks, for the brand to ultimately reinstate their original logo because the redesign of their logo, but most importantly of their actual restaurants, was not resonating with this audience at all. And they spent a lot of money on that rebrand. So the lesson here for you is that even massive, massive brands with super loyal audiences can mess that up by getting their branding wrong. And just because you spend more doesn't mean that it's going to be better or more recognizable or grow your business or whatever. Logos really only work in the way that you want them to as far as brand recognition when they reflect a brand with values that people trust and recognize. Again, I will repeat, people don't love the Apple and the Nike logo because of the logo. They love that logo and they want phones with the logo on it or shoes with the logo on it or a sticker with the logo on it because they love those brands and the logo is a symbol of the brand. So let's talk about what your logo actually is responsible for. A logo is intended to represent your brand clearly, feel aligned with your values and positioning, function well across all platforms and sizes, and support brand recognition over time. I'm going to say that again. Support brand recognition over time. What a logo cannot do is make you famous, replace good marketing, fix unclear messaging, or build trust on its own. So to put this concisely, a logo is a symbol, not a strategy. Your logo will become recognizable, maybe not to the point of Nike or Apple, if your strategy is really solid. But if you have no strategy and you just make a really great looking logo, it's not going to mean anything to anyone. So how does brand strategy factor into this? Before they became iconic, recognizable brands and logos, Apple and Nike both had clear positioning, consistent messaging, strong values, and a really crystal clear long-term vision. Now, did they have all of those on day one of their business? Probably not, but they did have all of those before their logo started to become what they are today, because those are the things that become memorable, that build that brand trust. And the logo, again, is a symbol of all of those things. In your small business, what brand strategy does is defines what you want to be known for, who you're speaking to, how you're showing up consistently, and why someone should choose you. And then you use design to support that strategy visually. You choose colors that support those values and attract those ideal clients. You create a logo that is, yes, going to be recognizable, but that also is going to communicate the message you need it to communicate. Strategy is what creates the meaning. Design is how you deliver it. So instead of aiming for Nike level recognition with your logo, I think some better goals are being instantly clear to the right people, being memorable within your niche, being known for your one special thing, building recognition through consistency in both how you show up, what you talk about, the message that you share, the way that you talk, and your visuals. And I want to really reassure you that you don't need global recognition. Honestly, you probably, if you think really hard about it, don't even want that. Most of the small business owners I work with don't want to be famous. They just want to make enough money to support their family, maybe have a little extra, and make an impact on the world. And you don't need to be Nike or Apple to do that. You do not need global recognition. You need to be recognized by the right people. So if you started out this episode thinking, well, yes, Morgan, I do want my logo to be like Apple and Nike, I hope that maybe I have shifted your opinion a little bit and at least help you to understand that Apple and Nike did not start out as the iconic powerhouses that they are today. Their logos and their brands evolved with their business. And that recognition was built through a lot of time, a ton of money, and lots of repetition and execution and really, really killer brand and marketing strategy. So your logo doesn't necessarily need to be iconic. Your business does. The way that you treat people, the way that you show up and serve, those are the things that need to be iconic. And if you want branding that supports that long-term growth instead of chasing unrealistic expectations, strategy is going to be where it starts. Thanks for tuning in to the Six Figure Brand Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to rate the show and leave a review on whatever app you're listening on. And as a thank you, I'll send you coffee on me. Yes, I'm serious. As a smaller show for now, you taking the time to do this makes a huge impact on how we can reach more people and how I can continue to create this content for free. When you take a screenshot of your review, follow and tag me on Instagram at @SpectandCo. I'll send you a $5 Starbucks gift card. As always, don't forget to check out the show notes for any links or resources I mentioned during the episode. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you next week.